Order. I call the honourable member for Chifley.
Mr Deputy Speaker, I issue a simple challenge to the member for Paterson. You want to put that privileges claim in against the member for Charlton, and I'll be following up with my own, because you just misled the House claiming 345 jobs gone for a price that hasn't even come in. So when you're ready, when you're ready, we'll be ready to meet that challenge.
Member for Chifley, would you just resume your seat for a minute? I said it in the Federation Chamber this morning. The use of the word "you" is a reflection on the occupier of this chair, and it's from both sides of this chamber and in the Federation Chamber. And in your comments just then, you were saying you. That's a reflection on myself in this chair and other occupiers of the chair. So I said this morning I would not pull people up, but I will in future, whilst ever they use that word "you." The member for Chifley has the call.
I'm grateful for the guidance, and I'll ensure it doesn't happen again. Mr Deputy Speaker, this place should be a forum for struggle. It should be a struggle for ideas. It should be, on this, one of the biggest issues facing the country. It should have two sides being able to put up competing approaches to deal with this issue of climate change and how we respond. Now, we've put a price on pollution. We recognise that in this issue you can't keep putting it off, that in actual fact we need to embark on a major economic and environmental reform, that we have put forward a comprehensive plan. Those opposite believe the best way to deal with it is to plant a stack of trees. I mean, we have basically put forward a way in which, relying on the science, relying upon market-driven responses, we've put forward a solution. They can't find one scientist or economist to back what they're saying. On the way through, we've admitted, acknowledged and been quite upfront that there will be price impacts, but we have also provided a comprehensive and far-reaching assistance package. Their response is to take it away. Gone pension increases, gone family tax benefit increases, gone tax threshold increases. Now, I did say this place was a place for struggle, but for those opposite, I never thought it was a struggle for comprehension, to be able to understand what needs to be done. They're hard-pressed to understand that when you highlight a problem, you should be able to find a solution. Or, if you're unable to do it, at least back a solution. And they are going around wringing their hands 24/7 about cost of living increases and pressures, but then vote against the school kids bonus. When you're worried about steel jobs, you don't vote against a steel transformation plan. When you visit factories, slipping on your own crocodile tears about jobs, you don't go and cut $500 million of industry assistance, or worse still, sneer at efforts to protect 46,000 auto jobs in this country. And we've had a number of them say, why should we be defending an industry that's gone? There they are, writing off that industry, claiming it's not worth saving. That is what they're saying. That is their economic philosophy. How do you say you're worried? How do you say you're worried about cost of living and not support people's means to meet those costs of living by holding on to their own jobs? And then we have an MPI that comes in here claiming that the coalition has a concern about both cost of living and jobs. You don't talk about tax relief for business and then say you're against a company tax rate cut. You don't do it. You don't say you want to lower personal tax and then, absolute hypocrisy as pointed out by the Parliamentary Secretary, you don't say you want to see lower personal tax and then promise 1 million people that you will reduce the tax-free threshold. Talk about cost of living, but fighting against every single effort that we have put forward to help families and to secure jobs. Now, it's worth noting, nearly 1 million people taken out of the taxation system, 60% women. Hundreds of thousands of those people taken out will be students, young people. And in denying those people a tax break, they seek to give a tax break to the richest woman in the world, Someone who every single second of the day earns as much as a worker on minimum wage in one single week. Now, if you're a young person and you've scored a job to help pay your way through TAFE or uni, what would you think of a political party that comes along and says, we think you should pay more tax? We think Gina Rinehart should pay less, but we think you should pay more, and that is why we're reducing the tax-free threshold. Talk about making life harder for young people. There they are, studying, trying to get ahead, trying to basically make their way in the world, and these guys come along, those opposite come along, saying that they want to increase tax on them. In my area, in my electorate, 58,000 people, tax cut. In my area, in my electorate, 19,000 will see an increase in family tax benefit payments. 24,000 pensioners will see a lift in their pension. 5,000 of those pensioners, mind you, if you're concerned about cost of living increases, and I'd raise this with the member for Flinders because he talked a lot about my home state, in my home state, 5,000 of the 24,000 pensioners in the electorate of Chifley are worried that they will see an increase in their public housing rents because Barry O'Farrell will increase those rents just at the time we're providing assistance. Shame. A shame indeed. We provide $10.10 assistance through all the initiatives that we've put forward as a transition to a cleaner energy future to cover the $9.90 average increase. Now, that is a boost to help deal with cost of living increases. Now, we've had the member for Flinders, Mr Deputy Speaker, basically fling around all sorts of Play-Doh stats here. And the New South Wales government, well, they've made all sorts of claims as well, all sorts of claims. I'm going to get to that point, don't you worry. The New South Wales government's made all sorts of claims about electricity price increases. In fact, it's been a roulette wheel of stats. But the problem's been the numbers have always gone down because they went from a point where they said that electricity prices would go up 20% in New South Wales, 20%. And then when it was challenged, it went down to 15%. And then when it was challenged again, it went down to 10%, which is pretty much where the Treasury modelling anticipated that this would head. Now, New South Wales government also didn't take into account the economic growth and particularly the growth in renewables jobs that would occur in New South Wales, and they were roundly hounded for that. So they didn't take into account renewables jobs, and we also had a Premier welcoming the fact that New South Wales would be home to the Clean Energy Future Corporation, financing corporation in New South Wales. So they didn't say no to that. And the member for Flinders talked a lot about my home state, but I want to give him some home truths. Now, the New South Wales Energy Minister was out there claiming electricity prices in New South Wales would increase 16%, the bulk due to the carbon price. That was what he said. Now, the 8% of that increase, or as the Minister for Climate Change has indicated, roughly $3.30, would be as a result of what we're doing in terms of putting a price on carbon. But that 8% increase is compensated for, is assisted. What happens to the other 8% in New South Wales that you will be paying as a result of what is happening in New South Wales with power prices? Queensland, as the member for Morton's pointed out, is the same deal. So where is the cost of living increase or the assistance to help cover that cost of living expense that we never hear from those opposite? We also had reference in relation to landfills. I can inform the member for Flinders that the biggest driver of costs in New South Wales for taking rubbish to a tip is the waste management levy administered by the New South Wales government and will continue to be administered into the future by the New South Wales government and will increase costs. Never heard a word from the member for Flinders or anyone those opposite in terms of what will be provided to compensate or assist families on the way through. Also, water bills as well. You just might want to know as well, the New South Wales government was big about holding back on cost of living increases, and we find out in the previous week that close to $300 increases in water bills will eventuate as a result of the New South Wales government backing a submission to IPART to see those water bills go up. Those opposite are continuing to perpetuate myths and mistruths about what will happen They pretend that they know about the impact of cost of living increases, but do nothing about it.
Chifley's time has expired.